Welcome to Shadow Chasing Show. I made it on time. Yes, I made it on time. Thank you guys for joining me. Those are actually in the Facebook chat room, that also well as the YouTube chat room. Come on in, come and see. It'll be important for you guys to have a look here because we've got some very important information to share with you tonight. I've had a couple of people very upset. I guess to say, believing that certain things that I've been writing on my wall on Facebook, they're saying, "Oh well, that's not correct. You're not right. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong." If you're pro-liberal, you're going to find out the truth. So, and if you're not pro-liberal and you still want to make sure I'm correct, well, I'm doing research and I've been bringing up stuff and pulling things out from all over. Plus, also with my intel, I get from people that actually are in the middle of everything, that are not part of Poilievre's group, not part of Carney's group. They're also doing deep, deep, deep search, and they're telling you exactly what's going on in this country. And regarding a so-called leader, that's supposed to be so-called leader, he's supposed to be elected in, but apparently he's selected in, and that is I guess so the graceful little miniature wannabe, I guess it want to be me or whatever he wants to be, Mark Carney. Now, or he want to be a president. I don't know. Oh man, what can I say? Anyways, Mark Carney got himself in deep caca again, and he's pulling out rabbit ears out of his pockets. And yeah, that's what it says. It's not even out of a hat; it's out of his pockets. But he's been cordially having to sneak around corners and disappear out of the parliamentary cabinet continuously. He hardly. The people always said he's actually always flying out of the country, not in cabinet. And they're saying he's been 28 times, 29 times now leaving Canada. He's done more flights than Justin Trudeau in a matter of not even a month. And he's flying all over the world. Now, people saying, "Oh well, he's flying over the world because he's trying to bring money into our country." No, because he said, "Who cares?" He doesn't care. And no matter what, his own cabinet, Liberal cabinet, were trying to defend him and say, "Oh well, he made a mistake. That's not the way he wanted to say it." Yes, guys, come on. You brought him in, you liberal little guys, okay? You cabinet little people, you brought him in. You brought in Carney. You brought him in for one reason, and that's to take over the country, okay? Because he was already here for 10 years. He mixed and mingled with you guys when Trudeau was prime minister, okay? He was your financial advisor. He actually was helping you. He was also helping Harper, okay? While Harper was actually prime minister before, and Carney was helping him out. There's actually many, many, many photographs of Carney shaking hands and kissing babies, okay? That means whoever's there, that's what Carney was doing. I wonder whose baby he's been kissing. So, Carney's been doing this for a long, long time. Now, I have done a lot of research, digging deep. There is someone who actually does not like him at all, who actually lives in Japan and knows of him personally. Or I would say personally, I would say deeply, because it's all to do with Asian politics. And this man knows him, knows of his reputation. He actually has said, and I'm going to say a lot of ums because there's a reason for this. He has been well known in China, Carney, and because he's actually one of the directors of the CCP, okay, China's Communist Party. He's actually on the board. Now, when he stepped away from the board, his brother or in-law took it over. His brother-in-law now has got his position. Now, if Carney's not in China, his brother-in-law is doing it. So there's a lot of, and then some people saying, "Oh no, you don't know. That's not true. It's just China." No, they're on the board. Okay, it's been proven. I've seen photographs and videos of Carney being recognized. They're pointing fingers as a director of the CCP, one of the directors of the board. Okay, this is not a game, folks. This is not just say, "Oh well, he's just volunteering. Oh, he's just sitting there." No, he's a director. Okay, this man has been doing deals with China for a lot of years, and he's been one of the major hair pullers, and I will say that word, hair pullers, to bring into this country to take it over. Okay, this is what the Chinese Communist Party came here specifically to take it over our country. That's when we had the lockdown during COVID-19. That's what Bill Gates and Fauci and all those little heavy leaders of the World Economic Forum and the UN, okay, and the CDC. He's part of it. He's also the director of the WHO. He's the director of the WEF. There's actually his name's all over it. And he's Klaus Schwab's little sidekick. So, Trudeau was there, yes, and so was Chrysler Freeland was there. There has been, even Peter Polyev was there. Okay, Pierre Polyev was actually in that in WEF too. Now, Pierre Polyev said he was there, but again, who's wearing the pin on the lapel? Who's wearing their pin? Well, guess what? We also have Elizabeth May from the Green Party, and she too actually wears the WEF pin. Now, you guys, you have to know this. This is their agenda 2030, and their agenda is to depopulate. Their agenda is to take over the countries and to control you. This is all to do with, they're calling it, they gave the new name, calling it, well, they gave it a name, call it climate change. And then they change it to climate footprints, and they call it something else and something else, something else. What it is, basically, is a digital ID. It's to track you. Everything and anything you do, they're here specifically to track you. Now, no matter if you are living in the city or living outside the city. Now, if you're living outside the city and in the country somewhere, they're going to try and push you in, and they're trying to make it illegal for the farmers to even have a farm. They're going to make it where they're forcing you to give up all your animals unless you are working under their guise of the government. Okay, that's their control. That's what they want to do. The same thing goes on, including even, for example, we got some people here. I can tell you this right now, even on reservations, folks, the government's going to try and control even more. And I'm giving people heads up. Your government likes to mislead you. They're not, and you guys are, everyone knows this, no matter who you are, no matter what part of the country, part of the world, they're all there to mislead you. They're calling it climate change. This is all to do with China, what China has been doing all this time. They are digitally controlling the people, their people in their own country. No one can go anywhere unless you get permission by them, by the government. You get permission to go visit your grandmother, go visit your sister, go visit, and you get permission from them. If you want to get food, you're only given a certain amount of points to allow you to eat certain kinds of food or liquids or to go somewhere. If you use up those points in that 1 month, you can't go nowhere. What's that telling you? They're controlling you what you can and cannot have, and you let them. Okay? They let them in China. They abused them so bad. The people that refused to fight, that refused to accept this, were tortured and taken away to prison. Okay? Tortured. China got away with it because it's a communist party. People disappeared. Okay? Now, we've got the same thing going on right now. Right now in the UK. It's already started. In England. They've already started the climate change. They already started the idea of the 15-minute city. It's already started. And we've got people right now all over the UK fighting back, cutting all those cameras down so they can actually bypass and go and drive through those areas. Okay? They're fighting back, and they do it in the dark. They're not letting anybody use cameras on you because everywhere you go, they want to put cameras everywhere. These cameras all over the place. They want to see where you're going. They're going to be put up all over the highways. I'm telling you, folks, why do you think they're putting cameras? Why do you think they're building up? Why are they actually constructing all the new streets, fixing all the new streets all over the cities? Why is so much construction on the city streets? They're getting prepared for the 15-minute city lockdown. They're going to do it again. And they're going to see if they can get away with it. Now, whose idea is all this? Well, the people that are on board on that is Mark Carney. But the original people that started this was Bill Gates, Dr. Fauci, the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, and all the very multi-rich people. It's all their idea. They're the ones that decided, hey, we're going to control you, especially the Rockefellers. And they've been doing this, and this actually was practiced. They practiced at a table what they're going to do. So they created a scenario of seeing how people will respond by creating all these little stories, all these little issues regarding controlling your health, telling you what you can or cannot have. And they would make these unhealthy V's, shove it in your arm, to make sure that you are sick, or make sure that your body begins to tear and break down, that you can't barely move, to the point of unliving this world. If you go into depression, now the reason why a lot of people are going into depression is from the snake bites that you're getting, that you got through these since 2020, since all these big shots in the arms, people are coming down with depression. Why? Because they shut down the pineal gland. It goes to the pineal gland, and people go into depression. So what does Canada offer? They offer the MAID. Okay, there is over 70,000 MIDs in a matter of just the last few months. Most of them are kids. They don't even have to report this to their parents. They just go to the hospital, wherever they need to go, whatever, and say, I want to just go let go of my life, and that's it, done. They inform the parents after that child's gone to basically see if that's their body in a morgue. This is ridiculous. And they're doing the same thing to the veterans. If the veterans have PTSD, normally they're supposed to be getting help from other people in the veterans organization. And what is our government doing now? They're not offering them service. They're offering them MAID. If you're homeless, they're offering you MAID. If you're an elder over 65 and you put yourself in an elder's home, within a matter of a few months, they offer you MAID. And you're not sick, because they don't want you, if you're not a physically labored citizen that they don't need, then they're going to MAID you, offer you MAID. But if you're still physically able to work, then they'll just keep on working on you. Now, I'm saying these things right now because this is what their goal was. Now, to let you know, Mark Carney has been playing you guys for so long. Like I said, these last more than 10 years here in Canada. He doesn't live here, never has. His real home was actually in Europe. He doesn't live here. When he's staying overnight, say if he's got to go to Parliament, he'll stay in the original parliamentary apartment, the Prime Minister's location, a little hotel, what do you call it, a little apartment, and they stay there for a day or two, whatever, how long he's going to be. Once he's done Parliament, or if he doesn't want to be in Parliament, he goes back home. He doesn't live here. Never did. His home is in Europe. Yeah, Joanne, yeah, and they keep on bringing in millions of immigrants who get to sit on their ass and collect welfare. Yeah, and they're doing it purposely. Now, Trudeau did this too. Okay, Harper, Trudeau, and him, they were doing this a long time ago, but we never paid attention to it. I mean, I know a lady that's from Germany. She wanted to come and to move to Canada, and they gave her problems. They weren't going to let her come. but they want the other races to come into this country. Why? You see, it's called a distraction, folks. They want to bring in a specific radical Muslim group to upset this country, like they did the same thing in the States when Biden was president. And that's why this was going on. So Biden basically led a whole bunch of violent people that were part of organizations, that were drug cartels, you name it, human traffickers, came in the countries, the US, Canada, as well as here, and start taking over. We have the Mexican cartel now in our country. We have never had a Mexican cartel before. Now the Mexican cartel is here. Okay. And they've been here now for a couple of years since Carney came in government. So now they're taking locations from BC as well as Alberta, northern Alberta. Your major cartel is actually in the Grand Prairie, in Mexican cartels up in the Grand Prairie region. But you didn't know that. Oh yeah, that's why a lot of people, regular people from those towns, have gone missing, because they're trying to expose them. And now, how are the RCMP doing about it? They ask the RCMP, aren't you going to stop this cartel? All you get is a cold-faced look, and they turn around and walk back into their station. Who's telling them to stand down? Who's telling them to walk away? I can tell you this right now, the RCMP does not have the manpower to stop them. They don't. Not enough. I mean, they were, even though they were militarized to be trained to defend this country or defend the people, they're not working for you anymore. They're working for the government. They're there specifically to protect any government official, but they're not there to protect you. The word to serve and protect was thrown out the window a long time ago. The military can go in. They're going to be going in real soon, not long from now. But everything has to come in its own little order. Trust me. There will be a martial law. As you've seen on my wall, guys, if you ever get a chance to look at my wall, you'll see what I'm talking about. That what I had shared. I should bring this up anyways. Hang on a second here. Let's see. Let's bring in. Okay. Let's see what's important first to share starting. Okay. The EBS came in. It's they're giving you heads up. And this is what they said. This is actually from people that are in the military. This is their heads up. They're giving you heads up. Be prepared. This is not made by some crazy person. Okay, this is all from special people. It says, heads up, folks. Many of you may not believe this, but as I like this is what I'm saying myself, is I was already informed by my sources that this can happen at the moment. Be ready. And if you can keep on trucking here, this is the emergency broadcast system. Okay. They're saying here, the U.S. military alert, all military forces worldwide are preparing to suspend all media, internet, phone, and TV services. During this time, no internet, no ATMs and phones, only working for 911 calls. This is the global martial law we've been talking about, and it comes within a 10-day communication blackout. Here's the kicker. The emergency broadcast system will be activated worldwide, nonstop, 24/7 for 8-hour documentaries exposing the darkest secrets of the elite, fraud, corruption, pedophilia, and other arrests, and play the 3 times a day. The military has taken down cabal control governments worldwide, taking out, gone, mass arrests based on 500,000 sealed indictments. This is the moment that we've been fighting for. After the 10 days of darkness, we will reconnect to the new quantum internet. The old systems of government, education, finance, health, and commerce, gone. A new age is coming. And they're saying Nasara, Jasara, activated. That means including us. So Nasara is American, Jasara is Canadian. Okay, so there's all that we put out as far as our tax dollars are concerned. Anything that we've been paying interest rates on, high interest rates, all that's coming back for all of us. It's coming back into your bank account. It's all been returning because they're making sure that you know it's still happening. We just have to. What they've been doing all this time. To give you a heads up on this, folks, and you guys, I've been informing you guys the last 3-4 years. The military has been really busy. This is special forces. These are not just regular common military forces. This is the special units. There's over 1 million of them, 1 million soldiers, men and women. And they've been actually activated all across the world. I'm not kidding you. I'm not just small locations, not just United States, not just Canada, everywhere. Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, you name it, as far as Greenland, anywhere across the world where the military are, special units are out there, over 1 million soldiers. And they're there specifically for one reason, is to collect whoever is bad, evil, gone, done. Okay, they're making their collection. And it's finally finished. Now, there have been a lot of people scooped up a long time ago, during the I would say since 2015, 16. They have been scooped up a lot. Some actually have already been taken to Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. And then there's other prisons. They actually renovated Gitmo and to make it bigger. They got so full of prisoners, they had to make another one in Guam. And if you ever hear the song called YMCA, when Trump was playing the song YMCA, when he comes on the platform, that song is a code song for you guys to know. Gitmo is actually used to be one time a YMCA before it became Guantanamo Bay. So anytime you hear that song, that means there has been more people unalived that were tried and taken out. Whether they are, and some are actually doing life in prison, so it depends on the situation. Now, you will see a lot of people out there that look similar to that person who you thought, people say, well, how do you know this person is here and how that person's there? These are a lot of good actors out there, and there's people, they may not realize they're clones. There's clones out there, folks, everywhere. Okay, you got your prime ministers are clones, your pretty well anybody across the world, presidents are all clones. Most of them are clones or actors. They're basically wearing many masks. And they do this purposely for you as the citizen, and the media makes the country look either good or bad, or makes them look good or bad. We have to be distracted continuously, but shown the truth. They have to. They can't say, well, I'm going to hide this. And when Mark Carney has been here, he's been trying to show you what his intentions are. You see, Carney is in trouble too. Okay? You guys think that he's going to get away with it. And Carney is a lapdog. He's a financier. He makes lots of money. He's a billionaire, a multi-billionaire. But he's Trump's lapdog. Why? Because if you see him cowled to his knees, the last time you saw it when he was actually seeing Trump. But see, he thinks he can get away with it and go off on anybody. He thinks he can do whatever he wants. Why do you think Carney kept on saying, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care? People ask anybody from the mainstream media, ask him questions, and he will say, I don't care. Because he doesn't care. He never did. He became the prime minister. I call him the crime sinister for one reason, and that's to make money out of our government money. All the tax dollars we've been forking out, he's making the money. Okay? There's nothing. He doesn't give a rat's butt about you guys. None. He came in as a financial advisor for Harper and Trudeau for one reason. For those 10 years, he's been the one that's been giving them ideas and also giving them, I could say, advice, verbal advice, even during the protests, the peaceful protests. He was the one telling them what they should do. And they took his word for it. Carney is the one that wrote the book and actually wrote in his book and said, here's what I want you to guys, here's what I'm seeing is going to happen. His goal is to control everything, including your pension plan. Now, I predicted this over 10 years ago that the government's going to try and go after our pension and remove it completely, that it won't even exist. Because you see, there are two countries that have pensions. One, United States, and two is Canada. Other countries don't have pensions. We're the only country that has pensions. Everyone else has to work to the end of time. And so even today, or not today, day before yesterday, Mark Carney flew to Abu Dhabi, to Saudi Arabia, and he did his presentation on the platform. And he mentioned our money from Canada, $2 trillion that he was going to give. Like, here, this is for you. We have this. You want to join us? And I'm going like, wait a minute here. How can he hand out money? Now, there have been people that said, oh, well, your prime minister can't do that. He can't just hand out money when he feels like it. Remember, folks, you have to remember, he was not elected. He was selected. You gave him the foothold. He's not the real prime minister. He's a crime sinister. He's going to do whatever he wants because the Liberal Party or the Liberal people, his little people, they're all handing every ideasms to him, and he can get away, and they're letting him get away with it. Now they're playing the Where's Waldo game. I said this a long time ago. Where's Waldo? Because he kept on escaping the parliamentary building. When things get too hard, too tough, and he's confronted the truth and questioned about questions, he's not even answering. He's avoiding every answer. And if Carney doesn't answer it, nobody else does. No liberal people ever answers stuff anymore. They don't. They'll mislead you. They'll distract you. They'll say, well, we did this and we did that and we did this. Those things that they said we did was actually done by the Conservatives. Anytime that Carney opens his mouth and said, I did this and I did that and I did this, he never did those things. That was Pierre Poilievre's idea, all those proposals that were done. So he was stealing all his ideas, but he's not saying thank you for Conservative Party for giving some these wonderful ideas to help people. No, they just took because they're thieves. Okay, that's the way it is. So no, Carney's not even in this country now. He just escaped. He was there for about maybe 10 minutes until it was a tough question, and he got up and walked out. When he walked in, even the mainstream media trying to ask him questions, and he escaped them. He just disappeared. He won't talk to the mainstream media either. And he goes in. I'm not talking. No, I'm not interested. No, who cares? He's been walking away. Every reporter now. And then the reporters are also told this: don't ask him the tough questions. Then he gets pissed off. And then he'll point the finger at you. You're given a warning. You ask a question again that is tough for me, then I'm not going to talk to you, period, or you're not welcome back in the building. So now he's making it his own way of controlling you. Okay? So there have been people who made comments regarding when I talked about the EBS. Now, when I see some of the people say, one fellow named Bradley says, I'm going to say I'll believe it when I see it. Don't believe there is something that's going to save us. We have to get up off our own asses and do the work as ourselves. It's all a bunch of distracting BS. We need to stand up and fight back, period. He's right. We need to. We still have to fight back. He's right. Right? I take us, Bradley is fantastic. We all have to stand up for each other. with each other, not away from each other. Okay. Michelle says a few cousins in the military have been told to stock up, and this is her friend. This is her family members. As Michelle says, I have a few cousins in the military and have been told to stock up, and that there will be a war via blackout in the next 2 years or so if you don't prep. Start. Okay, they're so like I'm giving you guys a heads up now. When I bring up and talk about EBS, it may not be now, but you need to stock up. Okay, even she's saying these are her family members who are in the military, telling her. Get it? You understand now? And let's see. Charlene says they will be welcome to the indictments are the political, medical, and corporate greed, as well as any soul that has damaged the human and malice, a particular minor. Faith is these past couple of years have been tested. The EBS. Hope I can tune it out. Now, we all have to see it. I mean, it's why do you think governments don't want you to have a? I like the word people saying pew pew. Okay. Why they're not allowing you to have that? They were trying not you to have own one because if by some chance you have a home invasion, which we've had a lot of home invasions lately, that even if you defend yourself, the police will say, well, we have to arrest you as a homeowner, but we don't arrest the people that are breaking in and doing harm to you. Doesn't make any sense. So we got really stupid police. Okay. So the thing is that people have been, like I said, there have been people haven't been hearing this for the last 6 years, yes, or more, which is true. But again, it's to prepare you. It is still going to happen. This is not a soft EBS, folks. This is going to be a hard ass EBS, just to let you know what's happening, because there's a lot of people out there right now today that really don't want to see it. They're trying to they're putting their hand in the air like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. No, I don't want to see it. You have to see the truth, what's really going on. But I want to bring up this one here. And I'm putting this one here. More breaking news, not from mainstream media, but from it says Mindset Sources. Mark Carney's brother-in-law is on the board of directors for the Chinese Communist Party Investments. It turns out that Mark Carney, his sister-in-law, Tanya Fox Rotherwick, who is now Tanya Evans, is married to Mark Evans. Now, who is Mark Evans exactly? Well, he is a board director of the CCP Investment Board. It's called the CPPIB. He is actually the son of John Evans, the co-founder of the MARSDD, which is a Mars with a small letter, one capital letter R and S, is North America's largest urban innovation hub. Now, if you guys don't know that, I'm going to show you on the screen in a couple of minutes what this is all about, because you have to see this one. This is going to piss you off. Okay, this is going to really get you going. So when I went up on this stuff, this is like, oh my God. Okay. So Mars Discovery District receives funding from the province of Ontario and the government of Canada to achieve its programming objectives. And in addition to these core funders, Mars applies charitable donations to further its purpose of mission. John Evans' son, the co-founder of MARSDD, brother of Tim Evans, Event 201, listen to those words, folks, Event 201, about the Event 201 exercise. Now, here it is. Event 201 was a 3.5-hour pandemic tabletop exercise, okay, that simulated a series of dramatic scenarios, based facilitated discussions, and confronting difficult true-to-life dilemmas associated with response to hypothetical but scientifically plausible pandemic. They already know this is I seen this already, this video, before the pandemic started. They were practicing this to get you scared. This is how they were acting this all out. 15 global businesses, government and public health leaders were players in the simulation exercise that highlighted unresolved real world policy and economic issues that could be solved, and sufficient political will, financial investment, and attention now in the future. Okay. The exercise consisted of being pre-recorded news broadcasts. These are pre-recorded. Okay. They're not recorded as of live. They're pre-recorded. Live staff briefings and moderated discussions on specific topics. And these issues were carefully designed in a compelling narrative that educated the participants and the audience. The Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security and the World Economic Forum, there's your WEF, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation jointly proposed these recommendations. This is it's called the Depopulation Program. This is where they're starting it. Tim Evans is on the board of the Event 201, brother of the Human Carbon Tracker. Okay. Michael Evans. They gave it title words, Human Carbon Tracker. This was all brought up for a reason. He spoke in the World Economic Forum about tracking everyone's individual carbon footprints, taking your rights away from you, like tracking your money in and out of your bank accounts. Carney literally just pledged to invest all $2 trillion of our Canadian pension plan in the Middle East. That video is at the bottom of the post, and I just basically shared that, but I will share it again if you wish to see themselves. Now, Carney's other brother-in-law ran the pandemic tabletop exercise, that's in capital letters, in partnership with the World Economic Forum. This can all be verified by reputable sources online. I encourage anyone in doubt to research this for themselves. I verified all this information. It's 100% true. This is really bad news for the Canadians. Another conflict of interest to add to Carney's list. Okay, Carney is involved in all this, folks. This is not just, he's not a sideline guy. All his family members, including Trudeau's mom, okay, and himself, and like all the families, it's all in the family. Okay. Share this far and wide, as I said before, and to say this, see the proof of what Carney and his scandalous WEF partners have been doing. Carney and his family should be charged for treason and crimes against humanity. Now, I'm going to play this video. Hang on a second. I'll bring this up for you guys. Let me swing it over and listen carefully to the video. Now, he just said $2 trillion of Canada pension is going to come there. That means he's saying he's taking our money and putting it into the Arab people, take it to there, that location. What does that tell you? And one person said, oh, no, he didn't mean that. Yes, he did. Now, AI, that is to control your digital, to control everything you do. Okay, that's why he's building all this. He's making this happen. See, Cyber Security Council. This is Canada, folks. Okay. Let me bring this back. So that is one of the stories. Like I said before, one guy, and I'm going to bring this one up because this is where someone had said, or I guess the guys from the Northern Exposure, or sorry, from Northern Northern Perspective. I like his way of thinking, so I can bring this one up right now.
There's been a lot of confusion online about Mark Carney's comment regarding $2 trillion in pension funds and a visit to the UAE. So let's clear it up quickly and plainly. First, Canadian pension funds are independent. That includes the CPP, teachers, CDPQ, PSP, OMERS, AIMCO, all of them. The government cannot direct their investments, cannot use their assets, and cannot treat them as a political slush fund. By law, these funds must invest only in the best financial interest of their members. Second, the $2 trillion Carney mentioned is just the combined size of all of the Canadian pension assets. It's not a pot of money the Prime Minister can move, promise, or redirect. It's just a number he quoted to impress foreign investors. Nothing more. Third, saying pension fund leaders will visit the UAE simply means meetings, the same kind of international meetings pension CEOs do in dozens of countries every single year. A meeting is not a commitment, and it does not give the government any new influence over investment decisions. And finally, there is no legal mechanism for any prime minister to spend CPP money or reroute pension assets. Changing the rules would require 2/3 of the provinces representing 2/3 of the population. No government has dared to touch that. Now, and I'm being clear that this is part speculation, Carney likely used sloppy language because he's trying to signal that Canada is open for business, and he wanted to sound like he's bringing heavyweight investors to the table. But in doing that, he blurred the line between promoting Canada and implying control he simply does not have. What's the bottom line? Your pension money is off limits. No prime minister, including Mark Carney, can spend it, promise it, leverage it, or take it.
Now, according to him, yes. But remember, folks, Mark Carney is not a true prime minister. So what do I see out of him? I don't trust him. Because he's been, don't forget, folks, this guy's been dipping into our dollars and has been spending it already without the other cabinet ministers to vote. He's just take. And then you say, oh, well, why do you think we are already bankrupted since the 80s? And all Mark is doing is signing over more money. He's just making up more money because, folks, if you look at the dollar bills, okay, some of the 20s and the 50s, on the lower left corner of the money has his signature on it. So he's been making money for a long time. And that's what he's been doing, like this, people just don't get it. They just don't get it. Anyways, let's see here. Why are we spending money to stop election disinformation in the country that doesn't even have free elections? Who is this money going to be defending? This is Daniel Ortega, the dictator of Nicaragua. In his country, elections are rigged and opposition candidates are regularly jailed or banned from running. Despite this, Mark Carney is sending his government, your tax dollars, to fight disinformation against the local female candidates. Okay. Okay. Look who's been freezing your bank accounts. This is the man who actually froze your bank accounts if you were participating in the Freedom Truckers Convoy. He is the one that was been doing this all this time. He took the role of power and told Trudeau what to do. Okay. Mark Carney, former governor of the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England, publicly advocated for freezing bank accounts to counter the 2022 Freedom Convoy protests in Canada. Shortly after Carney's advocacy, the Emergencies Act was invoked, leading to the freezing of 206 bank accounts linked to the protest supporters. The freezing of bank accounts raised concerns over violations of the Charter rights to freedom of expression and protection against unreasonable search and seizure. A federal court later ruled the act unreasonable. That's the guy that caused all this, and everybody wanted him to be the leader of our country? Are you kidding me? You wanted freedom? And he took it away. And you guys let him. Okay, let's go with this one. Europe just legislated the end of financial freedom and nobody noticed. January 2027, every euro above £10,000 becomes illegal tender. Every Bitcoin needs government permission. This is not proposed. This is law. This is breaking news in Europe, folks. They're calling it European Central. European Central actually is the WEF and also is the same group. They just gave themselves a different name. They're making up laws. They're making up rules. Okay? They're making all this up. And they're saying, we have the law and you have no say. Who are these people? Why is she wearing this neckband on her neck? What is she covering up under that neck? She's not trying to stay warm. Okay? Something's going on with that neck. What kind of mask is she wearing? Who is she really? Okay.
The new Liberal leader and Prime Minister Mark Carney seems to like to take credit for things that aren't exactly his. For instance, on Friday, the National Post had an exclusive story claiming that while writing his 1995 dissertation for his PhD at Oxford, Carney lifted at least 10 sections from other authors' work without giving them credit for it, without mentioning their names or putting a footnote in that says, I got this from so-and-so. Now there are the liberal ads that say Mark Carney helped save Canada during the 2008-2009 global financial crisis. Well, he probably did have some part of that. But as former Prime Minister Stephen Harper, who was in charge of the government at the time, said, he's listened with increasing disbelief as Carney has taken credit for things he had no part of. For instance, Bank of Canada governors, which is what Carney was at the time of the financial crisis, Bank of Canada governors do not do day-to-day management of the federal budget. They don't do day-to-day management of the federal government. Yet Carney seems to claim that it was his wisdom that got Canada through that crisis. Now he also claims that he got the United Kingdom through the Brexit crisis. That's not exactly how the Brits remember. There are an awful lot of people in Britain who were very unhappy with Carney at the time of the Brexit referendum because he helped start a fear campaign to suggest that getting out of the EU would be very bad for the United Kingdom. I happen to agree with that. I happen to think Brexit was a mistake for the Brits. But the point is, the Bank of England governor, which is what Carney was at the time, the Bank of England governor does not have a political role. He should not be engaging in fear campaigns to try and sway voters for or against any particular position in a referendum. But that's what he was doing. He's also taken credit since he left the Bank of England for the environmental record of Brookfield Asset Management, one of the largest investment companies in Canada, and claims particularly to be really big on green initiatives, green alternatives to fossil fuel energies, and on human rights. Well, there are at least two major reports from environmental and human rights groups that say, for instance, Brookfield overestimated the amount of emissions it was saving with its investments by a factor of 12. They were producing 12 times as many emissions as they were emitting. And that's how they were getting these great green ratings. That's how they were attracting moral investors, sustainable investors, people who were looking for investments that didn't produce an awful lot of carbon emissions. And there are other reports that show Brookfield, in its third world green energy projects, has a kind of questionable human rights record. You don't hear that. You don't hear Carney trying to take credit for that. In fact, he's also trying to not take credit for Brookfield moving its head offices from Toronto to New York. Now, who would you trust to deal with the Americans on tariffs? Pierre Poilievre or Jagmeet Singh, or Mark Carney, who took the head office from the company he was in charge of and moved it to New York. I think Carney is not what he appears to be. And I think after this election, Canadians are going to figure that out. I hope they figure it out beforehand, because Carney has the same staff, much of the same caucus, much of the same cabinet, and many of the same senior bureaucrats as Trudeau does. And perhaps most importantly, many of the same policies. I think Mark Carney is just Justin Trudeau 2.0. And I hope Canadians find that out before April 28th when the election is held. For Post Media, I'm Lauren Gunter.
Thank you, Lauren Gunter. I'm sharing as much as I can of other people that need to be, that wanted to share what they want to say. It's important. So I'm bringing this all up because it all relates to Carney. Where we go here. Okay. Now, some people are saying, oh, you're going crazy, Derek, you're going Carney crazy. Well, you know what? You need to know the truth, folks. This is exactly what you probably don't see. Now, this actually lady here we're going to be sharing right now, she was once the Prime Minister of England, and she can tell you all about what Carney had done. And she gave you the big heads up warning, don't let him become the Prime Minister of Canada.
Just wanting to get your thoughts on Mark Carney and your relationship with him while you were Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and any advice you have to Canadians who think he might make a good Prime Minister.
Well, Mark Carney was governor of the Bank of England, and under his tenure, too much money was printed, which did damage to the British economy and put our economy off track. He, at the last election, endorsed Rachel Reeves' economic policy. She's now become Chancellor. It's been a disaster for Britain. The country is heading for bankruptcy. So I would strongly recommend not backing Mark Carney or his policies on net zero, which have been disastrous for Britain and will be disastrous for Canada.
Do you trust his judgment overall, outside of ideological considerations?
Well, I believe that he made major mistakes in the management of the Bank of England. He has pushed net zero, which has been a disaster, not just for the UK, but for many countries across the world.
Thanks for your time, Prime Minister. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So now you guys know. Okay, let's go with that's the UAE. Not that one here, so let's go this one here.
Canada and the UAE can appear as different as snow and sand, yet we're deeply, deeply aligned. At our core, we're both trading nations. Yesterday, Canada and the UAE signed, finally, a foreign investment promotion and partnership agreement with FEMA. This will unlock tens of billions of dollars in investment between our two
With FEMA.
And as we build our investment ties, we're also elevating our trading relationship. A landmark agreement that will cut tariffs, remove red tape, expand market access, lower costs for our exporters. His Royal Highness and I agreed to launch our comprehensive economic.
Now, I want you guys to see this.
His Royal Highness and I agreed.
Boom. You see his expression of his hand right there? That's satanic. Every time he does that, that's a satanic symbol. This is not the same way what Trump would do. Trump would actually do the spear. This is what Carney's doing. He's actually a follower of Satan. That's this symbol. Anytime he does this quite often, you'll see a lot of people that are being interviewed on TV or radio. They'll put their hands, set their hands up that way when they're talking. So that's what they do. He's letting you know while he's being interviewed, that's how he place his hands. Watch carefully. If Trump was doing it, he would take both his thumbs down and they'd be pointed like an arrow point, like a spear. This one's not a spear. This represents Satan.
To launch our comprehensive economic partnership agreement, or CEPA, an opportunity to take our partnership to a new level, and we will deliver on that in the next year.
Okay.
We are facing the most significant crisis of our lifetimes. Who cares? He wants to break us so America can own us. Who cares? I mean, it's.
See, you always think is like everything has to do with Trump. It's not. All the economy here in Canada. Let's not talk about tariffs. Just talk about food. Okay. I want to talk about food for a moment, and anything that's actually in this country. People that grow food, people that raise their animals and for food. It's all grown here in this country. If we're trading within our own country, we're trading, but yet, how come our prices are still going up? And they'll say, "Oh, it's Trump's fault." Trump has nothing to do with what's happening in this country, and that's what Carney's doing. Carney's actually letting you think, wanting you to think that everything that happens here is Trump's fault. So Carney uses words, "Who cares?" Carney, when asked about the last time he spoke to Trump, because he can't say who he says who cares, but the reason why, it's not because he doesn't care. He does care. It doesn't care, but because Trump doesn't want nothing to do with him, because he lied about Trump, and Trump is pissed at him. He made up a lie about Trump 3 or 4 different times, and that's why Trump doesn't want nothing to do with Carney. That's why, and that's why Carney goes, "Well, who cares?" Because he can't communicate with Trump right now. Trump's not talking to him. But I'll tell you why too. You'll find out in a moment, folks. I got more things for you on that agenda. Just hang on to that thought.
The detail. It's a detail. I spoke to him. I'll speak to him again when it matters.
Since the U.S. called off trade talks with Canada,
Hmm.
has Mr. Trump returned your calls, texts, or accepted your apology over the material?
See the expression on his face? He doesn't care. He rolls his eyes. Who cares?
Who cares? I mean, it's a
See what I mean? He doesn't care. He never did. This is all to do with his own personal needs. This is what he wants. He wants to keep on charging you this. Carbon tax Carney is the biggest supporter of Trudeau's carbon tax. One of the most important initiatives is carbon pricing. The Canadian federal carbon pricing framework is a model for others. Effective public policies include carbon prices as Canada's legislated path to $170 a ton by 2030. That's quite a lot. He doesn't want you to drive. He figures, well, if we keep on taxing us, then we won't drive vehicles anymore, that we go into electric cars. You see, the reason why Carney wants you to go to EVs, because he owns, under Brookfield, he owns shares of batteries that make the lithium, that manufactures the lithium, that makes the batteries. That's what's making him money, is the lithium batteries. If you ever look online on a Brookfield, you will see that's Carney's partnership, and he makes about 20% profit of every battery that is manufactured per battery. It's a lot of money because those batteries cost what, $10,000, $12,000 one battery alone, or more. So he's making money out of Brookfield. He's not stupid. He's a smart man. So he's basically forcing you not to drive a gas-powered vehicle. He's trying to get you to go EV. That's why he wants to pass a law that no gas-powered vehicles be allowed on the road. Now, he actually started doing that program, and then people got pissed off about it, and then he avoided it for a while, but he's still going to try and make claim of that, and he's going to try and get you all worked up and saying, oh, see, here's a problem with carbon. See what's happening in the air. See how come the clouds are all how come there's so much clouds in the sky? There's hardly any sun because of the carbon. And then they're going to blame the cattle. They're going to blame the chickens. They're going to blame anything. Then they're going to blame you for being outside, getting fresh air in the bush, walking down the street. They want you to stay in your house. You're not supposed to exercise. All these things they don't want you to do. And he's going to actually play the role. Just be aware of it. They're always going to try to distract you. Let's go with this one.
We're developing, through technology, an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned. We don't have it operational yet, but this is something that we're working on.
And that's Carney's brother-in-law. Ta-da! Let's go another one.
My name is Michael. I was wondering if we could discuss the role of what we eat in addressing the climate crisis. Obviously, people like to eat a lot of meat and have gigantic ranches, and this can drive things. So the role of diets that are plant-based, perhaps even edible insects or vegan in nature, what role that can play, and how states, businesses, and nonprofits.
He was placed in the crowd to ask the question, folks. They have people go and do that for you because they would never ask that question. So he's in the crowd playing the role of leading them to tell you, give you guys the answer.
Can encourage those kinds of diets.
I'm happy to give my input on that. I think it's a key element. So what I did for myself is I sat down and used some of the research to figure out where are the biggest problems. It's not just in transportation or in energy or in manufacturing or in cities. It's also food. Food systems account for around 21% of CO2 emissions, and they are unhealthy. And they have a lot of waste, 40%. So here we have a system where if we reinvent that, we would have zero carbon, we would have healthier being, and we would have no waste, which means there's plenty of food for all 8 billion people in this world. And so I stopped eating meat. Now the math would say, well, you need to stop eating meat 11 years to compensate for a flight to Thailand. Yes, but if 1 billion people stop eating meat, I tell you, it has a big impact. Not only does it have a big impact on the current food system, but it will also inspire innovation of food systems. And I predict that we will have proteins not coming from meat in the future. They will probably taste even better. So why are we trying to mimic meat if we can have a better taste? They will be zero carbon and much healthier than the kind of food that we eat today. That is a mission that we need to get on.
And that is what they're doing right now. They're 3D printing all your food that is actually made of chemicals, has no bearing of any animal. They just flavor it, and those are all chemically done. And people are getting sick. They're doing it behind your back, and they're saying, well, we need to get permission to do this. They've already started it a long time ago.
The new Liberal leader and Prime Minister Mark Carney.
Oops, one more. I forgot that one here. We did it already. Hang on a second here. Wrong one. Let's see.
Elbows up didn't do anything, did it?
Hundreds of Canadian auto workers will soon be out of jobs, and General Motors is blaming American tariffs.
When was the last time you spoke to the president?
Who cares? I mean, it's a detail. It's a detail. I spoke to him. I'll speak to him again when it matters.
From manufacturing to transportation, industries hit hardest by tariffs are also getting hit hard by job losses. Windsor now has an unemployment rate of 11.1%. In Oshawa, it's climbed to 9%. Here, General Motors is slowing production at this plant because of tariffs, forcing one of its parts suppliers to lay off 250 workers.
Who cares?
Just a reminder again, and then we have here, where's Waldo? Yeah, where's Mark Carney right now? Let's bring up just one here for a moment here. Let's bring up Campbell's soup. Okay. Very similar to the situation, folks. They're recalling Campbell's soups again because they're saying that the chicken was not made by real chicken. It's made by a machine, which is lab grown. They've been lab growing chickens for quite a while now. So if you see here, it says, we're proud of the food we make, highest quality ingredients. We use our soups made 100% real, antibiotic free, blah, blah, blah. We're thankful for the millions of people who buy the food, enjoy our food for more than 150 years. Okay. Now, if you look in the directions right there, it says contains bioengineered food ingredients. Okay. This product comes from a genetically modified crops. Hello. Do you guys get it now? Right there. Look at that. Bioengineered food ingredients. Product comes from genetically modified crops. So, it's not real food. Those crops are actually designed specifically for when they get hired to do. Okay, here's a good one here. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, let me one here. Okay, now I want to bring this one in, and this starts at, let's see, 14. This is listen to this one carefully, folks. This is important for you to see and hear. Now, where's my numbers here? I put the code number in. 416. Okay. Listen carefully on this one. because they mentioned Carney and they mentioned President Trump. And you listen carefully and watch carefully. That's not what I wanted. Dumbasses. Hang on. They keep making me go back to this. Let me stop this for a moment. Swing over. Yeah, right. Okay, stop that, guys. They're if you don't pay for the commercials, yeah, I'm going to live a long time. Oh, come on. There we go. Here it goes again. Skip. There we go. Now we can bring it in. It keeps on. You can never get old living a very long time. Okay. So this is his name is Fulford, and this guy has inside information because this is very more important. If you don't see his stuff, you should listen carefully, folks. This is a really important one. Benjamin Fulford. Did you guys hear that? Because this is when Trump was at the G7 in Banff, Alberta, this past year. Now that one there, I'm not going to go after yet because that's not what I need. But I want to bring this one in. Okay, this is already up here. And a lot of people don't even ask the questions and said, okay, in the UK, who is Mark Carney? In the UK, Mark Carney served as the governor of Bank of England from 2013 to 2020, where he guided the economy through Brexit and implemented changes like introducing plastic banknotes and increasing meeting transparency. And at the first non-British person to lead the institution, he was a prominent figure during the time of significant political and economic change, a role he began in the wake of global financial crisis and continued through the initial phase of the COVID-19 pandemic. You guys get it now? The Bank of England governor, as his main role was to ensure economic and financial stability in the UK. He was managing Brexit. He led the bank's response to the 2016 Brexit referendum, ensuring economic financial stability during the period of uncertainty. It was his fault, and yet they're blaming the prime minister at one time. His tenure included managing the economic impact of both the Brexit vote and the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic. And the bank reforms, he introduced reforms including a greater emphasis on transparency, the introduction of plastic banknotes, and restructuring the bank's internal hierarchy. And so it goes further here. Now, the COVID-19 response in his final weeks as governor in March 2020, he responded to the pandemic by cutting interest rates and stating that the economic shock should be temporary. Okay. So he was vocal about the economic risks of Brexit, but as governor, he focused on preparing the bank to maintain stability regardless of the outcome. So he was his fault for Mexico to do all this, to create all these problems. Now, I want to bring up, we talked about the Arab Emirates. If you guys don't know what they are, look it up here, United Arab Emirates. This is also known simply as the Emirates, as a country in West Asia, situated in the eastern end of Arabian Peninsula. Okay, this is their symbol right here. So this is the crew that the dealings with Carney and them right now, our country. This is who he's working with to deal with, where he's actually, I guess, they offering him the $2 trillion are supposed to be our pension. Okay, now I talked about Mars, not Mars as a planet, but the organization itself. This is where one of his brother-in-laws runs. If you look in this one here, Mars actually is North America's largest urban innovation hub. Okay, but if you look further into it, it shows you that this is who they are. Look it up. And it says here, Mars is the anchor of Ontario's tech ecosystems. Our world-leading programs cultivate a pipeline of innovative IP-rich companies, generating significant economic impact across the province. Mars Supportive Ventures boast a 20.7% annualized revenue growth rate, exceeding Ontario's GDP growth tenfold since 2012, and they've contributed to $29.6 billion to the province's GDP and $7.5 billion in tax revenue. Now, this is where Carney is a partner of this organization, Mars. Okay, M small a R S. And that's what they're doing. Okay, now if you look at the startups in their story, let's see, let's look at this one here, their funds. Okay, they're making money. Our tax dollars go inside of here too. They're making money off of us. So if you look it up, you'll see why they're doing it. Now, bring that one down. And this one here, I find the most important part right there. Let's go to John Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. This is the whole group of people that the training table, this is the training tabletop exercise, is based on a fictional scenario. They call it fictional. The inputs experts use for modeling the potential impact were fictional, but is teaching and training resource for public health and government officials. Now, when I'm talking about this, because you look down here, remember I said before, event 201. Okay. So on the exercise, the event 201 was a 3.5-hour pandemic tabletop exercise that simulated a series of dramatic scenario-based facilitated discussions confronting difficult, true-to-life dilemmas associated with a response to a hypothetical but scientifically plausible pandemic. This was exercised about apparently at the same time when COVID began. They were doing this just to practice, to get us to believe what was going on in, they call it, pandemic. The exercise consisted of pre-recorded news broadcasts, live staff briefings, and moderated discussions on specific topics. Okay, so they pre-recorded everything ahead of time when the pandemic started. Okay, when they created the pandemic, they pre-recorded everything. So they had you believing that, oh, live on location, people are dying. Live on location, people are dying. Live on location, look here. So then you go look here. Johns Hopkins Center, the Health Security World Economic Forum, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation jointly propose the recommendations. Why? It's called the depopulation program. These guys here control the depopulation program because the Center for Health Security. Okay. And they're still doing it to this day. So if you look for the recommendations, there you go. Public-private, it says Public-Private Corporation for Pandemic Preparedness and Response. Why would they create a public-private cooperation for pandemic preparedness and response? Why? Because they create the sickness. They've been creating these things for years, since 1918, when they created the Spanish flu. That was the grandfather to Bill Gates. His grandfather made the Spanish flu, created it. Then through 1984 is when 1982 to 84 is when Dr. Fauci created the AIDS virus. Then through the years, which I already have, I may have shared it. I did share this with you guys before. All the viruses and sicknesses people created were actually practiced and on many people, including people in the military, that they practice on to test the illnesses or the toxins that they've created to downsize population. And they've done quite a bit of it through generations of years. And here you have right here. Why would they? Because it's call to action. The next severe pandemic will not only cause illness. Why are they saying the next pandemic will not only cause great illness and loss of life, but could also trigger major cascading economic and societal consequences that could contribute greatly to global impact and suffering. Now, why would they do that? Why would they say that? Okay, don't forget, folks, they practice at the table. They're showing you what they're going to do. Efforts to prevent such consequences or response to them as they unfold will require unprecedented levels of collaboration between governments. There you go. International organizations and the private sector. So the international organizations is the WEF, and also the CDC and the UN. These are your national organizations right there. Okay. And the government collaboration with the governments is your governments across the world. And then the private sector are the people that are multi-billionaires that actually say, well, here, I got some money if you can keep on doing this for us. Let's do the depopulation program. There also made important efforts to engage private sector epidemic and outbreak preparedness at the national level or regional level. Okay. Here's right here, folks. Read it. I mean, right in here. It's telling you all what's up there. Read the column, share it. You're going to see things in here that's going to blow you away. Countries, international organizations, global transportation companies should work together to maintain travel and trade during severe pandemics. Travel and trade are essential to the global economy as well as national and even local economies, and they should maintain be maintained even in the face of a pandemic. Now, this whole thing was created, this whole website was created about 5 or 10 years before this all began. Because look at here. Johns Hopkins University Center Health Security in partnership with the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. High-level pandemic exercise. The exercise was October the 18th, 2019 in New York, New York. Exercise 2019. And then they created the pandemic in 2020, the beginning of 2020. Do you guys get it? They're already practicing the pandemic or the plandemic. There you go, right there. Okay, to the response of a severe pandemic in order to diminish large-scale economic and social consequences, societal consequences. They were for real, folks. They didn't kid around. Okay, this is everywhere. Now, they're chasing our pension. This is where Carney is trying. He's actually using $2 trillion of our. He was actually talking about taking $2 trillion and dropping our pension, okay, for the Emirates. Now he's just teasing them. He says, "Well, we have the money." No, you don't. So, anyways, I wanted you guys to see this. If you get a chance to, please look up that page, the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, the Center for Health Security. Read and share. Let them see. This was pre-planned. Okay, all of this pandemic of this illness that they created was pre-planned. This organization right here, Johns Hopkins, and all these people on the board were all responsible for the loss of all your family's lives. Do you get it now? They're all responsible for your family's lives. These people right here, all of them, should be tried under military tribunal. Every one of them. They knew exactly what's going on. Their names are on there. There's George Gale. Their name's on the list right here. Matthew Harrington. Look on the tables. Okay, I'm telling you guys, this is, let's say who we are. Okay, these are all your supporters. There's World Economic Forum, okay, World Health Organization, WHO, Johns Hopkins, Bill and Melinda Gates, CDC. There you go, Rockefeller Foundation, Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. All these people are responsible. Okay, they're responsible for the losses of your lives. And the Department of the State, United States of America. So this actually, there's signatures on it too. That's when Biden was president on that list. So now you see Homeland Security. All these people are responsible for the deaths of all their family members. Every one of them on the list. They're all sponsors to this. But these three right here are the worst. Those three. And the fourth, I'll say Rockefeller. They're the worst. So now, you know what I'm talking about. Okay? I'm trying to share as much information as possible about what really goes on and what Carney's been doing. Carney was on that little list. He was actually involved here as well, folks. He's not an innocent man. And you remember, like even Fulford said, okay, he said he was a PEDO. He's a pedo, okay, because he said Carney was on the island, and there's actually videos and recordings of Carney with children. Okay, like they already have that proof. Carney's going to go bye-bye sometime. They're going to take him too. So was his wife or man-wife or whatever, wife-man or whatever. So this is all going to come out. But you guys need to open your eyes. I'm telling you. You got a leader running this country who's a pedo. It's been proven. Benjamin Fulford would never lie. He works under special forces, special unit. He's telling you the truth. He's one of our sources. So whatever he says, I'm telling you, he's not kidding around. On a very happy note, I want to share all. It's like I want to tell you guys all what's really going on, and some people are going to say, "Well, the government can't do this and government can't do that." The government's going to try everything they can to get away with it, and it's a distraction. It is a story time. It is a play. It is a game. It is a carny. Okay. And it is a good pun to go intending. It's a circus in Parliament. There's lots of clowns in there. And, you got your good people and then you got your liars. You got a lot of liars right now and they're liberals. Absolutely going nuts. I like to be a very, very spiritual person, and I'm going to make a prediction. I'm predicting that there's going to be a lot of changes here in our government, and it's going to switch over eventually. That will do better, but we have to let others see the truth and hear it. There are people still out there that don't want to see it. They're still afraid. They don't want to see it. They want to believe that that the country's going to be okay. I do too. We all do. But we need to open up and listen carefully, because your government is not doing exactly what they're supposed to help you with, folks. They're not here to do you well. When one more thing, we'll talk about Daniel Smith and Carney was supposed to have signed that little contract deal regarding the pipeline. And David Eby, our premier in BC, says, it ain't going to happen. Nope, not here. Not going to happen. I'm not going to make sure the pipeline's not going to happen. Number one, David Eby is only premier. David Eby cannot even shut down no pipeline whatsoever. He can't. He's just a rep. Carney could. Carney can say there's no pipeline. And sure, you can sign an MOU. Okay. But doesn't mean it's going to happen. See, Daniel Smith thinks that the pipeline is going to come in. Once it's signed, you're going to get a lot of offers of people that want to invest in the pipeline. And you do have quite a few Indigenous bands, First Nations bands, that do want to invest in the pipeline and have already been investing in the pipeline. But the EB keeps on saying that not one band is actually wanting to be in the pipeline. They do. It's much safer if it's a pipeline that actually is on a ship or a train. Now, recently in Kamloops, about a month ago, somebody pushed a freaking boulder over off the side of a mountain, which has never happened before. Strange. And a boulder rolled down the side during when a train's coming down the track, which is rare, never happened before. And that boulder knocked the trains over, which is full of oil. And it spilled into the water. So, yes, they should be using Canadian steel because the Chinese steel doesn't have the nickel in it and doesn't hold the steel much stronger. But again, what did David Eby do? He handed the contract for the ferries to China. He'll hand the contract to any pipeline or any steel to be made in China. If you notice, there's a lot more people, manufacturing cars, that are working on the cars. They no longer have work. Why? Because of Carney and Eby and also Doug Ford. They screwed up people being employed. It has nothing to do with robotics. It's all to do with money. They're trying to shut down only the vehicle manufacturers because Carney wants to make money in the EV cars because his company, Brookfield, are the investors in the batteries, which is the lithium. Brookfield's also an investor in the uranium. Did you know that? I'll bet you didn't know that, eh? So, and yet he's also considered as conflict of interest. See, Carney's making money while he stays prime minister. Okay? He's making money off you guys. Always has been. Always has been making money off you guys. You guys don't realize how much money he's been making off you. Okay? And yet people say, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it. No, that's okay. As long as, you know, as long as we got money coming in. No, you don't. It's getting lesser and lesser. When I go into a corporate store, I go to a grocery store, I'm noticing there's lesser and lesser employees working in stores. Let's say Home Depot. There's lesser and lesser cashiers. There may be only 2 cashiers now in Home Depot lumberyard. Okay, only 2 cashiers. Everything now is using by the machine. Doot, self, doot, out. And if you don't know how, if you don't know how to do it, they'll help you show you, but they still make you do it on your own. Why? They're forcing you to. They're saving money on employees, but one day it's going to happen where they're going to have everything robotic and there's not going to be one person in that building, period. It'd be all by robots. And you wonder why, how come nobody's got a job? Because you let them. Look at Amazon. Amazon has no work right now. There's no people, hardly anybody working for Amazon. It's all robotics now. They kicked out 3,000 employees, fired them all at the same time when the robots came in. Fired them all. And their union, gone. They didn't care. Amazon didn't care. That's what's happening to your, it's going to happen to your Home Depots. It's going to happen to your Walmarts. It's going to happen, it's already started Walmarts. It's going to happen to your superstores, Canada, Costco's. Costco's already started. Costco's already started using their, now you got to come in with a card and identify yourself coming in there and going out because they want to make sure how much you buy. They want to see, they want to track you. See, the thing is that they already know. It's not because you have a membership. You just show your card, you walk in. But they want, dude. But yet they still have people by the machine to see you coming in to use their card. You got to touch your card has to be near that machine to say, "Ooh, she's coming in." You accumulate numbers. Really? They're tracking you. It's starting. See, your corporate business. You don't see mom pops coming into small little stores. They have to show the card. They don't. They come in. They have cash. It's going to come to the point, folks, that your cash won't be any use to you anymore. They're trying to take cash away that you have to use, and they're limiting what you purchase. Okay, if you want to buy something, say for $500, they'll say you're only allowed to buy things that are up to 200. Why are they telling you how to control your money? That's how they control you, and they've been doing that in China for a long time now, since COVID. So I'm hoping to be able to help you guys on this. But like I said before, regarding the pipeline, it's better off to have the pipeline here and underground. But as long as they do it properly, there should be no problems. But I said before, when I was against it first for a while, and because I learned all about the benzene, tizine, and those are the chemicals they use to make the oil move faster in the pipes and the pipeline. But when I found out the reason why the welders are having a hard time keeping the steel together, because the steel was made in China. So someone said, oh, well, they're making steel in Saskatchewan and they're putting it together there. No, there's no factory in China or in Saskatchewan. What they're doing is they're shipping it into Saskatchewan, and then they're doing the welding there. They put in the flanges on there, and then they're shipping them out like a factory. But again, like the welders say, they're having a hell of a time. They had to change the grade of the welding seal because the Chinese material is not the same as Canada or United States. We make steel. They don't in China. And I can tell because I found something here that looked like it was metal. And I took one of my magnets and I went to go pick it up, and it wouldn't even connect with it. It wouldn't even pick it up whatsoever. It looked like metal, felt like metal, but it wasn't metal. So we do have a problem. There's no nickel. There's no proper metal made in China anymore. It's all fake. So you have to really look carefully, folks. Not everything's steel. I'm hoping our BC ferries, the new ferries, when they bring them back, that they're actually done properly in steel, and don't sink or leak. You know what I mean? So it says here, okay, EB said the pipeline will never happen. Yeah, I know. He's going to say the pipeline. It will happen because even Trump said the pipeline's going to happen. David Eby is a traitor. Okay. You'll be hearing about him soon. He's actually a traitor to this country. He's in trouble right now. He's actually very, very WEF follower. Oh, major follower. Yeah. And he'll lie through his teeth to get where he wants. Him and Carney are in bed together, probably literally too. Martial law is coming. Like I said before, it's still coming. EBS is still going to be coming, but again, it's a matter of when. They're still cleaning up what's left in some areas, scooping up, they're trying to bring the kids home and whatever's still happening. We're pretty well almost ready. I would say, if not by the end of this year, be beginning of next year for sure. And I don't think I'm going to string anybody along for the next 2 years. This too much because people just give up and walk away from any of the hope. We've actually, remember now too, we've been dealing with slavery for over generations and control. We were controlled by governments for years. And even the word government means slavery, to enslave you. So, I stand with my government means you're enslaved. Look it up. Look up the meaning of it. You'll be surprised. Okay. I really appreciate your time, folks. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask on the questionnaire. Anybody got anything questions? Yes, they make pipe in Saskatchewan. Yeah. So most of that pipe is actually brought in from China, and then they'd start welding the flanges on them. A flange is a flat top edge, and they just put them together, and then they weld them because the pipe comes in from China just as a tube, and then they come in, drop them off, and then you put the flanges on. That's why they can put them together like this, just like your regular gas plant, oil plant, that sort of thing. That's what they do. So the welding guys are down there all the time. So basically, what Carney's goal is to try to do social credit. So he wants to do the same social credit score in Canada. Limiting, and Carney's goal is to limit your internet service, your cable, your food consumption, entertainment, and including your work visa, anything to do with working or even just purchasing things. When is the internet and technology crashing, going blackout? I don't know. I was given the heads up on it. But again, they'll never tell you when. But they're just basically giving you a heads up saying, be prepared, start saving food and as much cash as possible. Set it aside, a lot of water, anything to emergency for at least good month or two. And then that should be fine. Because basically what they're trying to do is a 10-day lockdown. That's why they call it blackout. Because they want you to see exactly all the indictments and what's going on from all these people that have been arrested, and you're going to see this on television. You can't avoid it. You have to watch it to find the truth. You see the truth. And you'll see over 300 judges prosecuting and sentencing, and there's no lawyers. Oh, one more thing. I better bring this in. Hang on, folks. I got one more thing to share with you guys before I forget. You need to see this. I got to bring this in. Because everybody kept on saying to me, "Oh, is this true? Is this true? Can you?" And there, one person said to me, "Oh, that the military cannot arrest the civilian, and they can't, if they did something wrong, they can't do that." Yes, they can under the Geneva Convention. I'll show you guys this. Okay, here we go. It says here. This is actually military. Okay, the Geneva Convention, Article 66. Third Geneva Convention, prisoners of war, death penalty. The death penalty can only be carried out after 3-month delay from the time the protecting power is notified of the details of the offense and sentence. Communication. The detaining power must communicate all details of the offense to the protecting power, which will then forward the information to the power in whose armed forces the prisoner served. Purpose of this article is a safeguard to ensure a prisoner of war has time for an appeal process or to their home country to intervene. Okay, now this man down here Derek Johnson knows his stuff. He's Rattletrap 1776. You can find him on Facebook, folks. And you can see the documents on the documents.info. This is basically what I'm showing you here. Now, next one. Geneva Convention, Article 64, Fourth Geneva Convention, civilians. Okay, these are us. The penal law of the occupying power can modify the existing penal laws of the occupied territory, but only to the extent necessary for its security and to maintain order. Tribunals, local courts can continue to function as long as they cover the offenses covered by to occupying power does not repel or suspend them for security reasons. And the purpose, the occupying power's ability to impose its own laws is meant to ensure the security of its forces and administration and to maintain the orderly government of the territory. Okay. Okay. Now, civilian trials in military court. Key exceptions for civilian trials in military court. War crimes. Civilians can be tried in military tribunals for crimes related to the violations of laws of war, especially if they are considered combatants or otherwise associated with military operations during wartime. This is wartime right now, folks. Aiding the enemy, civilians can be tried in military courts for aiding or attempting to aid the enemy, including by harboring them or providing intelligence. Undermining the government, military courts may have jurisdiction over civilians who engage in crimes aimed at undermining the government. Civilians occupying forces abroad. During wartime, civilians who occupy the armed forces abroad can be subject to court martial. Okay. This is important. Okay. The UCMJ, Article 2, Section 802. And it says, the UCMJ, Article 2, Section 802, 10 U.S. Code, subsection 802 defines who is subject to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which includes not only active duty and reserve service members, but also other categories of people such as retired members, cadets, and certain civilians and POWs. This article is the foundational part of the UCMJ that establishes military jurisdiction for a wide range of individuals. So anybody serving military, you'll find out. And the final, can a civilian be tried in military court? Yes. Right there. Yes. We are in an occupied country. We're talking about Canada, folks. UCMJ, Uniform Code, Military Justice, Article 2, Section 802, Geneva Convention, Article 64, civilians. We're under that code. Okay? Geneva Convention, Article 66, prisoners of war. So, I'm telling you, these writings are actually written by military people. Derek Johnson is one of the most important people that we've known in the service. And so if you ever want to find out what's true and what's not, now you know. So what Carney is doing right now and other people in this country, if they are messing with and doing wrong, the military are going to come and scoop them. So they're going to be going bye-bye. You got to see them making the mistakes in public for you to say, I don't agree with this, stand up for your rights. They want you to fight back. Don't sit back and wait for them to come and get them. You got to say no. That's it. They say no. I don't agree with what you're doing. You're harming the people in this world. You're harming people in Canada. You're harming our children. You're harming our elders. You're harming our money, our income. You're harming our transportation. Okay. Heidi says, what should we do when this is happening? Martial law. The military will be showing up in neighborhoods and they'll say to you, go home, stay inside your house for a bit until they say it's okay. And don't argue with them. Just stay in your house. And you're not going to be you're not going to be like permanent. That's just temporary while they clean up all the people off the street, the people that need to be taken care of. They don't want you in the way. That's why they don't want you in the way. And I know what this is all about because I've seen this happen before. So you just got to be out of the way. We already know, I do know with my own eyes, one of my friends had a photo op with 2 Army Special Unit Forces that were here, Canadian or American Army here, and they're in town and they're here to do their job. So, you know, people saying, "Oh no, Canada's not going to be not going to be for the 51st state." We already are the 51st state. Okay, folks, we are part of the United States. We are part of it. We're in. We're North Americans. We're in. They're scooping them. They're scooping them. We're not going to be, oh, well, I get permission across the border to go and collect these people. No. Harper signed the deal with the FBI in 1984 to allow them to come here and to arrest you if you did something wrong there or here. So if it's the FBI, it'll be the military, one of the two. Okay, I think we're good. Hope you guys please like and share this. I'm going to be on Rumble. My copy of this program will be on Rumble, and I'll be on, again, Telegram. Keep an eye out for this program. And thank you guys for letting me to watch me, what I'm doing, or share with you what I get to do. I'm enjoying this. This is actually a lot of fun. I've always done this for a long, long time, and I hope you guys get some knowledge out of this. Please go to these pages. When you watch this again, you know, pause it, go to those pages, look them up, do your research, share that with others. It's important. You know, I'm not the only one here. I'm just, from what I find and what I get, I'm here for you guys. Okay. It's not just for me. It's for everybody out there. And I really do care about all you guys out there. I love everybody. I don't care if you hate me. I don't care. You're still a human being. You're still a living being, and you have the right to be here on this earth as much as everybody else. So we have things to do, places to go, people to see, and enjoy life to make it to be the best. And the finest thing when you want to do is live, love life. When I was a kid growing up, we were hippies. Okay. I'm a hippie kid. I grew up still the same way. Lay back and enjoy life. Sure, I was a farm kid, but I still love being who I was and sit back and enjoy peace. And we don't need another war. We don't. You know, we do see violence in other parts of the world, but because they want you to see the violence, to get you to participate in the violence. Just keep on praying for everybody. Those who are in need, you know, those who are suffering right now, pray for them. Those who are in the hospitals, pray for them. Those that are even homeless, pray for them because they need our help. You know, these are people that don't deserve to be on the street or in the bush. They all need us, right? If you guys can do a heads up, hands out, and, you know, give them $5 or whatever you can to say, you know, sure, some of them are actually saying, well, I need it for food. And you may know them well known on the street that could be a drug user. Just give it to them because they still need to survive somehow. I mean, they've chosen to live, and this is what we need to do. So anyways, guys, appreciate your time watching this program. Please like and share this everywhere. And those who don't have the knowledge, I hope I was able to help you guys with this. And I'm going to keep on going what I'm doing, folks. I'm not giving up. Some people say I'm too old for this. No. I got a lot of years to go yet. I have hope and faith. God gave me this job, and that's my job. And many of you out there are doing the same thing. So peace be with you guys. Love you guys, and we'll take care of each other. And we're signing off. Take care, guys. And one of my songs I love playing is from that movie that was from, Kelly's Heroes. It's about money. Didn't they get the gold from the bank? Stole from the Germans?
They all tried to tell me, but I guess I didn't care. I turned my back.